She'll smack. Give you a cat on the table.
Good evening, everybody. How are you? Welcome this evening to the Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Education Public Conference Meeting. The board met in executive session tonight, Monday, June 17th at 6 p.m. in James Caldwell High School, room 105. The purpose of that meeting was to discuss personnel, litigation, miscellaneous, and old business matters. The meeting has been advertised and is in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act and NJSA 10:4-6, also known as the Sunshine Law. The matters discussed will be made public when confidentiality is no longer required, and formal action pursuant to said discussion shall take place only at a meeting to which the public has been invited. Tonight, the public conference meeting is taking place at 7:13 p.m. Please forgive our tardiness. In the James Caldwell High School cafeteria. The Board of Education meeting will be streamed live, but all community questions and comments will be welcomed here in person. The Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Education Public Conference meeting is also in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act and NJSA 10:4-6, also known as the Sunshine Law. Notices have been sent to The Progress, Caldwell, New Jersey, the Star Ledger, Newark, New Jersey, and Tap Into West Essex. Notices have also been posted at the Board of Education Business Office, Harrison School Building, Gray Street, West Caldwell, and have been delivered to the clerks of the Borough of Caldwell and Township of West Caldwell for posting. Brian, can you please take the roll?
Yes. Student Representative Madeline Alberta. Ms. DiMartini.
Here.
Ms. Landolfi Jefferson.
Here.
Ms. Mack.
Here.
Mr. Diambola. Ms. Grosso.
Here.
So we have 4 voting members present. We have a quorum.
Great. Before we start the Pledge of Allegiance, I'll just ask everyone to send some good vibes up the hill. Mr. Diambola just left executive session to go coach the girls 14U softball team in their championship game versus the Hillbillies. So good luck, our 14U girls, okay? Sending good vibes to Chris up the hill. Okay, if everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Brian, are there any communications for the board this evening?
There were none.
Okay, great. So we're going to move on to the superintendent's report.
Tonight we have several recognitions for our retirees and some milestones. So I'd like to start with the milestones first. I'd like to congratulate Miss Marianne Rivera, District Nurse Coordinator and Wilson School Nurse, for her 25 years and dedication to the district. And I'd also like to recognize Mr. John Tinman, who is a teacher of health and PE at James Caldwell High School, for his 25 years. And I'd ask Mr. Lincoln and Mr. Devlin to come up and present them with their pins. Thank you so much. Ms. Rivera, if you could come up. Mr. Tinman, if you could come up. The pins are right there. I don't have my camera to take a picture.
You want to take a picture?
You could take a picture. Sure.
Oh, sweet. Oh. Oh, yay.
How we doing?
Thanks, Brian.
Oh, she's so sweet. So cute.
Now I'd like to recognize some of the retirees. To help me do that, first I'd like to invite up Mr. Lincoln to the podium.
Good evening, everybody. Dr. Conklin, Mr. McCarthy, the board, guests, which consists of family, friends, and colleagues, thanks for all coming out. I'm going to start here by something that, this will sound familiar to Ms. Avrilla. Hello, children. Was that okay? Okay, there you go. So if you've ever been to the bottom floor of Wilson School on a Thursday or a Friday, you would probably have heard Mrs. Avrilla open up her class like that. Her children would always respond in the same sing-song manner. It was just a wonderful way to get, a rapport established with your kids. Tonight I'm here to acknowledge the many years of dedication and service you've given to the students of Wilson School. As somebody who mouthed his way through fifth grade chorus, it is not easy to get a group of young people to come out of their shells and actually sing, but you manage to do it every single year that I've seen those kids perform, and they walk off those risers glowing, so it's a really tribute to the work that you did. It's important work. I'm not sure if everybody knows this, but Ms. Avrilla spent time at Wilson School, and then she also spent time at Lester C. Noecker right down the road. Selfishly, Wilson would have loved to have had you all 5 days a week, but in reality, that just means you got to touch twice as many kids' lives and make an impact on them. So on behalf of Wilson School and Lester C. Noecker, we're grateful for your service. We wish you the best of luck in your retirement, and we will definitely miss you. Thank you.
I'll give it the apples at the end. So, I'd like to invite up Mr. Adamo to recognize our next two retirees.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight I'm very honored to acknowledge the careers of a couple of wonderful educators from Washington School. While I've only known them for a brief period of time, I am thankful and proud to have been able to work alongside them. So let's start with Ms. Zevin, Miss Lisa Zevin. I know she's around. Oh, there she is. Ms. Zevin is a special education teacher who has dedicated 28 years to the Caldwell-West Caldwell School District. She has taught in multiple buildings. Washington, I know, Lisa, is your favorite, right? It's okay. You could say it. You're retiring now. It's all right. Prior to working here, she taught in East Brunswick as a private school, at a private school for 10 years. Ms. Zevin has been an advocate for her students. She works in their best interests, and she will always engage in conversation on their behalf, and we are very thankful for that. In her retirement, Ms. Zevin has shared that she will be spending time with her family, who live out of state. She's also hoping to do some traveling aside from that. I also know that Ms. Zevin will continue to work with children in some capacity. Thank you, Ms. Zevin. Congratulations on your retirement. Wishing you all the best. Another retiree from Washington is Mrs. Joan Jobs. Mrs. Jobs has been a fifth grade teacher at Washington School for 17 years, and she has taught all of her years in the same classroom. I can only imagine that you're finding many, many things as you clean out your room, Mrs. Jobs. Prior to going back to school to become an educator, Mrs. Jobs worked in marketing, but we're just so glad that she explored elementary education and we got her over at Washington. Mrs. Jobs is a teacher who works tirelessly to support her students. She collaborates efficiently with the fifth grade team and is a leader among her colleagues. What I appreciate most about Mrs. Jobs is her calm presence and willingness to tell it like it is. And she's done that a few times this year, right, Ms. Jobs? In her retirement, Mrs. Jobs plans on doing a lot of traveling, reading, and spending time outdoors. The thing she is most excited for, though, is becoming a grandmother for the first time this October. Yeah. So congratulations, Ms. Jobs. Thank you for all of your service to Washington and the district. I wish you the very best in retirement.
I'd like to invite up Mr. Bertolo to recognize his two retirees.
Good evening, everybody. Tonight, I am here to honor two remarkable individuals whose contributions have left an indelible mark on our community. These two individuals I have the honor to speak about have a combined 60 years in education, so I apologize in advance for the length of each one. It's hard to sum up 60 years in just a sentence or two. First, let's celebrate Inez Morrissey, the cornerstone of the GCMS art department for nearly 3 decades. Inez's tenure has been marked by a profound commitment to nurturing creativity, fostering collaboration, and leaving an indelible mark on both her students and the broader community. Her meticulous design and painting of scenery for both the middle and high schools, spanning over 2 decades, have enhanced school productions and enriched our cultural tapestry. She was also the driving force behind the creation of the Grover Cleveland Middle School's Make a Difference mural that reflects her commitment to leaving a tangible legacy. Her active engagement in the broader arts community and collaborative spirit within the school have further solidified her legacy, including her role as a cooperating teacher for over 20 student teachers at Montclair State University, as well as her participation in the Arts Educator Advisory Board at Montclair State. Amidst her professional achievements, Inez cherishes the personal connections she has forged within the district. From making lifelong friends to gaining a cousin through marriage, her time at GCMS has been punctuated by moments of warmth and camaraderie that have enriched her experience immensely. As she embarks on her next chapter, her greatest legacy remains the thousands of students she has inspired and empowered through her passion. There are many things she's looking forward to in retirement. She gave me a really long list, so I cut it down. She is excited to spend time with her husband Chris and her son Griffin, although he's currently attending school at Arizona State University and loves Arizona. She is looking forward to continuing to develop her own artistic style and continue working on some projects at home while converting a spare bedroom into an art studio. She is planning a slightly delayed 60th birthday trip to Italy to visit her sister and brother-in-law while hopefully getting to visit Paris with her. Mostly, this is her favorite one, she's looking forward to never having to commute 2 hours to work ever again. Thank you, Inez, for all you do for GCMS and for being the cornerstone of our department for over 30 years. You will be missed. Next, let's recognize Dina Larson, whose dedication to education and music has been nothing short of exemplary. I was fascinated to learn that Dina originally began her career looking to become a traffic, weather, news anchor on the radio. She was approved for a major New York news station, but ultimately decided that it wasn't right for her and ultimately landed here in Caldwell. In 1990, she began as a general music teacher at Lincoln School. She was also assigned to teach 6th grade chorus and 6th and 7th grade general music classes at Grover Cleveland. By the time she was tenured, Dina was teaching general music at Washington and Lincoln School, was the director of both choral ensembles at GCMS, and she's been doing that ever since. Although Dina has been doing great things in Caldwell since 1990, she's also been very involved outside of school. Until she started a family, she performed extensively as a vocalist in area churches and in choirs. As a member of the New Jersey Symphony Orchestra Chorus, she performed at NJ-PAC, the State Theater in New Brunswick, and at the Trenton War Memorial. She had the chance to back up notables, including Melba Moore, Christopher Cross, and Suzanne Ishney. She also sang backup with Mary J. Blige and was asked to work with her as she began to break into the recording artist industry. She also had the privilege of singing at the Mann Center in Philadelphia for the inaugural Marian Anderson Award program, and was hired to sing as a chorus member in the New York Pops concert at Carnegie Hall. Amazing. She is proud of the many students that she has sent to the New Jersey School Music Association Region Chorus concerts over the years. It is truly competitive, and we have had students participate every year, and all of them have reported back how incredible of an experience it was for them. Above all things, the most important job she's ever had is being a mom. Her son Paul is currently a sophomore at Morris County College, majoring in journalism, and her daughter Anna is about to graduate high school. She will attend the University of Delaware in the fall as a psychology major. Her husband, Paul, who retired from the school district in 2022, and Dina are very proud of both of their kids. Dina is most looking forward to not having to take work home with her and having a much more flexible schedule. Thank you, Dina, for all you've done for the music department in the Caldwell-West Caldwell School District. Your dedication and contributions are deeply appreciated.
I'd like to ask Mr. Devlin to come join us.
Good evening, everyone. Ms. Press, I have the honor of speaking on behalf of Ms. Press this evening, but I found out today that although she's got a super outgoing personality, she's a little shy in front of groups, so I thought you could stand right here while I speak, and there's the camera. There's the camera. You can wave to everyone streaming out there while I speak. Better to look at you than look at me, okay? So, it is an honor to represent the faculty administration of JCHS in thanking Miss Marian Press for her 21 years of service to the district and to congratulate her on her retirement. Teaching is a second career for Marian, who left private industry in 1999 to take a science teaching position in Patterson before transferring to the Caldwell-West Caldwell School District in 2004. Miss Press will be remembered for her positive attitude and her smile. Even during stressful times, she is a ray of sunshine. In addition, her passion for science and love of nature is evident in what the students probably best know her for, the animals in her classroom. Turtles, snakes, and lizards housed and nurtured in room 314 brought biology to life. Ms. Press is also known for not only stressing the importance of service and one's responsibility to others, but for modeling this in all that she does. For the past 10 years, she has been the key club advisor at JCHS, where she fostered a culture of service to our community. She also has a reputation of being extremely supportive of her students and for her dedication to the faculty at JCHS, especially in the science department, where her supportive nature transcends the norm and reaches the level of maternal, providing strength and inspiration, especially to the younger members of the department. Thank you, Marian, for putting your heart into creating meaningful learning experiences for your students and for modeling a passion for science and service. We will miss you next year and wish you all the best in retirement. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Really, it's been a wonderful run here. So I'm proud to say that I worked at James Caldwell High School. So.
And now I'd like to ask Mr. McCarthy to please join us at the podium.
Mary Jane Trapuka, affectionately known as MJ to many, has served the Caldwell-West Caldwell School District as a confidential assistant to the business administrator for 22 years, I'm told almost 23 years. During my 3 years in the district, Mary Jane has been my right-hand woman that kept me on task with the plethora of things that we are responsible for maintaining in our business office. Mary Jane's work hours in the business office are until we get it done. There are no real summer hours. As such, Mary Jane and I are often the last two persons to leave the Heritage School at the end of the day. Her responsibilities include transportation contracts, food service contracts, and free and reduced lunch, board agendas and minutes, and insurance, to name just a few items. I could go on and on. That's enough about her job description. Let me tell you about Mary Jane. What I admire the most about Mary Jane is her integrity. She cares deeply about the district. She cares deeply about her coworkers. She cares deeply about our students. Most importantly, she cares about doing the right thing. Mary Jane will be missed by those who she worked closely with at Caldwell-West Caldwell and by me. We wish you a long and happy retirement with your husband, Mark. There's no pause there for a reason. Since you live nearby in Verona, our hope is that you will stay in touch with your Caldwell-West Caldwell family. Congratulations and best of luck in your retirement, Mary Jane.
Take a 2-minute break. That was our last retiree. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Just before we take pictures and give out our apples, which was started by Marie Land Frank. I just want to say that Brian just said it perfectly. I was going to say something else, but he just said it perfectly when he was talking about Mary Jane and said how the best thing about her is her integrity and how much she cares. And I think that's the thread about all of our retirees today. They gave up, listen, Patterson, East Brunswick, Channel 7 News, which we never know. I mean, marketing, it was their loss was our gain for all these years. And it's heavy tonight to say goodbye to all of you. You've really made a very big impact to all of us. And I speak on behalf of the board to say that the debt of gratitude that the families and the staff and this Board of Education and those before us have to you is just immense. And I wrote down this quote before I came in today that said, behind every child who believes in themselves is a teacher who believed in them first. And wow, you all have a line of children in front of you. And Mary Jane, you have a line in front of you as well. So on behalf of all of us, when I used to teach preschool, we never would say goodbye. At their little promotions, we would sing to them happy trails to you, and we would say, until we meet again. So happy trails. God bless you all, and congratulations on time well served. Enjoy your future retirement, and please come back to visit us because we sure would love to see your faces. Okay, one more round. A quick break, and we'll do our apples and our pictures, and then we'll move on with the boring stuff. Conklin, or is that everything? Or you have anything
That
else?
concludes my superintendent's report.
Okay, so this is a conference meeting, so I'm just going to peruse the agenda. We're going to save all comments on and off the agenda for the end of the meeting. If that's okay, I'm just going to quickly go through it. We are going to move on one action this evening, okay? When we get to that, it's going to be in curriculum. So once I go through the agenda, we're going to go back. The board is actually very happy to announce that we are going to vote tonight on the teacher's contract, which we are very happy to announce that is done. So the board is going to move to vote that in this evening. Okay, so if you'll look through, we're going to have next week, we'll have committee reports. We're going to have things on curriculum and technology, HIB. We're going to do our LIP 3-year plan, which is our bilingual plan for ESL students that we're required to do. We're going to do our remote virtual instruction plan, which we're also required to do as well. Field trip FBLA is going to be going to the American Labor Museum on July 24th, so we're going to approve that. We have some personnel stuff. Just going through like the highlights everyone can read, I'm sure. Don't have to go through much. It's all still personnel. Extended school year, our treasurer's report. Finance, you'll notice there's a lot of transportation contracts here, transportation contracts for our special education students. Project graduation, transfer of funds. We're also going to next week accept a donation from the Kiwanis Club for donation tables for the Butterfly Garden at GCMS. The Kiwanis Club is a great partner to the board. We're very grateful for that. We have usage of facilities for things going on in the summertime. The coolest thing about the high school, I think, is that it never rests, not even in the summer. It's always busy with activity, which is great. We have some policies that are going to be going through as well. And I think that's pretty much it for right now. So before we go to public comment, I'm going to just pass it along to Terry, who's our chairperson of Curriculum and Technology, to move on the teacher's contract this evening.
Going to make a motion to approve item 7E on this evening's agenda under Curriculum and Technology, the memorandum of agreement for successor collective negotiation between the Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Education and the Caldwell-West Caldwell Education Association for July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027.
Great, and can I have a second?
I'll second.
Fantastic. Brian, if you could take the roll.
Yes. Ms. DiMartini,
Yes.
Ms. Landolfi Jefferson,
Yes.
Ms. Mack,
Yes.
Ms. Grosso,
Yes.
4-0, motion carried.
Fantastic. Okay, now we're going to move to public comments for anything on or off the agenda. Just going to go over the rules. Public participation shall be governed by the following. Participant must be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface comments by an announcement of their name and address. Statements are to be limited to 3 minutes duration. Participant may speak no more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. Please note that boards use the public comment period of the meeting as an opportunity to listen to citizen concerns, but not to debate issues or enter into a question and answer session or a cross-examination between the public and individual members. Be aware that not all issues brought before the board this evening will be resolved. Boards may respond to public comment by seeking additional information or by delegating the authority to investigate the issue to the superintendent or his designee. The presiding officer may interrupt, warn, and/or terminate a participant's comments if they exceed the allotted time or are objectively obscene. Participants may be civilly liable for any obscene, defamatory, or slanderous statements made during public comment. That being said, would anybody like to come up this evening and address the board on anything on or off the agenda? Yes.
Hi, everyone. My name's Abby Thomas, 28 Knollwood Terrace. I have a first grader at Jefferson. I have an incoming kindergartner, and then 2 more kids who are going to eventually go through the Jefferson school system. And I'm here on behalf of many first and second grade parents, many of who are here in the room, to express our concerns about class size and formally request additional support for these 2 grades at Jefferson. So my son's class has 25 kids, the max number per district policy, with only 1 teacher. The other classes in these 2 grades have 23, 24, 25. There's 1 inclusion class, as I'm sure you know, per grade, and those have 2 teachers. Ideally, the solution we'd love to see would be a 3rd bubble class, but of course we're aware and understand the space constraints. So we'd like you to strongly consider at the very least adding additional co-teachers so that each class in these 2 grades have 2 dedicated teachers so we can lower the teacher-to-student ratio and ensure sort of more even distribution of kids amongst those classes. So, and also I want to acknowledge the hard work of the teachers, the administration, the district. Everyone wants, a good working and learning environment for these kids, but we feel with this class size, it's really difficult to give that that personalized instruction that's really needed to set a good foundation, especially as we have standardized testing coming up soon. So there's a lot of research out there, as I'm sure you're aware, as educators, of the benefits of smaller class sizes and also the benefits of co-teaching. I can follow up with that. We've done a lot of reading on that, but I wanted to use this time to talk about a little bit closer to home here in the district. So knowing we've had lots of conversations as parents over the years, we knew this was a concern and an issue, but we sent out a petition. We have 61 signatures in the last few days. We also sent out a survey and a Google form to collect responses and wanted to share the following sort of stats and anecdotes. So we had 34 respondents to the survey. 97% said they're concerned about the current class size. 94% believe the class size has negatively impacted their child's classroom experience. Almost 20% of the respondents reported that their children are not meeting the grade appropriate independent reading level. And from conversations with current kindergarten parents where there's only 14 kids per class, this does not seem to be an issue. And then 40% of respondents have had to turn to private tutoring, which I was shocked by, to ensure that their child's academic needs are being met and to get that one-to-one time and that attention to grasp concepts. These parents also reference disruptive behavior, increasingly loud and distracting noise levels, and inability to focus, all due to the large class size. A few specific scenarios I wanted to call out. So there's a parent seeking evaluation for their child for speech, and they were told that the teacher had to work with that child over the course of several weeks before they could do an evaluation, but that was very difficult to do in a meaningful way with 25 kids in the class. There was another parent who said their child was diagnosed with dyslexia this year, and that went undetected by the district. There is a twin parent whose kids both have IEPs, but had to choose one twin to actually get support, given all IEP kids had to be in one class. And there's also examples of kids who are showing signs of advanced abilities, and they're getting distracted and getting bored and concerned about, how do we keep them encouraged and challenged throughout the school year. So I think we all want what's best for the kids. It was amazing to hear all of the recognition of these retirees and how much everybody cares in this community. But we want them to have this solid academic foundation in an environment where they can learn and thrive. And we don't feel like they're currently set up for success right now with these large class sizes. And knowing that this is going to follow them for future years at Jefferson. So this has been, like I said, a constant sort of topic of conversation and concern amongst parents. We kind of figured, let's go and voice this to the board and see if we can get some extra support for these kids, ideally, for the fall, for next year. So whether that's a bubble class or whether that's in the form of additional co-teachers. So thank you for the time and the consideration, and we look forward to hearing your response.
Thank you. Thank you, Abby.
If you could send me an email, I'd like to schedule time to meet with you. You can bring the survey, and I'd invite Mr. Ayers to join us so we could have a discussion on possible things that we could do to make sure your children are supported and get the experience that they're entitled to. Okay? So just send me an email. I can't promise it'll be before the end of school, but it'll definitely be before the second week of July, because people are kind of like going all over the place the next 2 weeks, but I think I have the first week of July available for me and Mr. Ayers. Yes, if you could share the survey via email, so that way I could kind of take a peek at it beforehand, that'd be really great. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. Anybody else?
good evening. Cynthia Walker, 63 Holiday Drive. Back in the fall, my husband and I were here to discuss the lanyard issue at the Glover Cleveland Middle School, and wanted to see if any consideration has been given for removing that requirement next year, given that that is the only school that requires a lanyard or a child to carry an ID throughout the day.
Yeah, we've been having conversations with Mr. Bertolo, and we are updating the code of conduct, so that's definitely something that'll be in discussions for next year. So
Thank you.
yes.
Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Terry Pignataro, 23 Holiday Drive, West Caldwell. I'm here tonight also as a parent of twin second grade students who attend Jefferson School. I would like to address class sizes and their impact on our children. I would also like to start by saying that my speaking has absolutely nothing to do with our second grade teachers or their teaching abilities. I believe they've done the best they can with the resources that they have or don't have at their disposal. Professionally, I am a fourth grade teacher in Essex County, and I've been an elementary teacher for the past 20 years. I've taught kindergarten, third, and fourth grade students, so I do have a vast understanding of the educational system at the elementary level. While I do understand and I do appreciate cap limits for grade levels at the elementary levels, I also know when exceptions can be, have been, and should be made because not everything is always one size fits all. When I was a third grade teacher several years ago, we had 4 third grade classes with 25 students in each class at my school. There were many special education, basic skills, social, emotional, behavioral, and academic needs and challenges that affected many of the students in our classrooms, not unlike our second grade classes currently here at Jefferson. At the time, in my district where I taught, the district decided it would be in the best interest of our children to hire classroom aides for each of the 4 third grade classrooms that year, and it did make a difference. Teachers can feel extreme differences when they have a class size of 20 versus even 22 versus 25 students. They are much more effective at helping children and spending more one-on-one time and small group time with smaller class sizes. It's a fact. It comes down to the mathematical ratio of how many days there are in a week and how much time you can spend with small groups of children when there is only one of you. I can effectively teach a whole class lesson to a group of 25 students, but most students don't understand something fully the first time a lesson is taught in a whole group lesson, and they need those follow-up smaller group sessions to help solidify understanding. Children are not the same. They all have differences in learning and different things that they don't understand from the same lesson. We have to tailor and group sub-lessons to subgroups of children. When you need to work in small groups, which is imperative for the younger years especially, you can only feasibly get to 1 group a week in each subject area if you are managing 5 groups a week for 25 students, and many students need more than that once a week. Most students need multiple points of small group and large group instruction to feel confident in a subject area. So what happens to those students when there is no more time for them due to mathematical ratios and multiple classroom demands that are above average for a classroom impacting that's learning environment? Multiply this issue times each of the 5 core subjects, but specifically focus on the building blocks of reading, writing, and math, which are the foundations for everything else in the elementary school and above. At this point in time, my children are second grade students who do not have extra supports in place for them. I worry with all the challenges that our grade level faces that all needs of all children cannot possibly be met. One of my children is very shy in school and will not ask for a teacher's help. That's just him. It's no reflection on the school, it's just my child. I need a teacher to be able to zero in on my child who's on the quieter side and who needs help, but may be given less notice when faced with so many other students who are more vocal or whose needs may seem greater for various reasons. With large class sizes, it is harder to zero in on these kids. It's easier to identify academic issues and tailor to children's needs when you have smaller class sizes or at least more adult support in the classroom. Some grade level years are less challenging than others, and even with high class sizes, I would not be asking for help if this were an average class with average needs with high numbers. I believe our grade level is one of those exceptions in times when we are experiencing a multitude of challenges that require either the addition of more classrooms or at the very least classroom aides, co-teachers, whatever the case may be. I think it speaks volumes that so many Jefferson parents are here tonight to address this issue. All of those are Jefferson parents. I respectfully ask that you seriously consider our needs and our requests. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Caballo. I live at 22 Knollwood Terrace. I have 3 children in the school district, finishing 11th grade, 8th grade, and 2nd grade. I'm also a pediatrician. This is this is the 12th consecutive year that my family has had a child, at least one child, at Jefferson School. We have never experienced a situation like this year before. My daughter is in the co-teaching 2nd grade classroom with 24 students. I want to paint a picture for you of the effect that this classroom has had on her. The frequency and intensity of the challenging behaviors that surround my daughter this year have had a profound negative impact on her physical and mental health. Early in the year, she was used as a positive role model, and she was seated at tables that needed the most active behavior management. This took a profound toll on her. One night she shared with me that she was so proud she had found a place in the classroom that she could go cry when she was feeling overwhelmed, where no one could see her. I had only been notified by the teachers once of her crying. While she was so proud of this crafty little accomplishment, my alarm bells started going off. What was happening in this classroom that not one of 2 teachers could see one of their students dissolving into tears on a regular basis? We addressed this and we moved on. Then she started to have headaches, and then the headaches became daily. And now with her medical team that we've assembled, we figured out that her headaches are triggered when the noise and chaos level in her classroom become too much for her to handle. What happens in class when she gets a headache? She goes into the hallway. I've asked her to go to the nurse. She doesn't want to do that. She goes into the hallway. Sometimes she's out there with 7 other kids that need to escape their classroom at the same time. Sometimes she's out there with one partner working on math games or a writing piece. And sometimes she's out there alone, completely unsupervised. And what is she doing when she's out there alone? She's laying on the hallway in the school doing her exercises for her headaches. We can do better than this. She deserves better than this. If you ask her about 2nd grade and you really get her talking, she'll tell you that she feels like her classmates don't care about each other. She does not feel safe in her classroom. She feels invisible. And I would argue, dissolving into tears with no one seeing, she is invisible. And she feels like she hates school. This is what our daily conversation is. I appreciate all of the work that her teachers, her principal, and with the help of Dr. Conklin, the district will be doing to support her next year. But the needs of this classroom and this cohort are too much for the teachers to manage, the most hardworking, the most dedicated teachers to manage without more support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Laura Kavanaugh. I live 30 Gold Place in Caldwell, New Jersey. I have 2 kids at Jefferson. I don't know if I can do this. I have one that's leaving, and I have another that I've spent the past 3 years fighting every single year. She's been diagnosed finally with dyslexia. INRS isn't a place you live, it's a place you get referred. I have to prove that she's struggling. I've had outside resources showing it. I'm made to believe that she'll be fine and that she doesn't need anything. I finally have a diagnosis of dyslexia this year, and we both looked at each other and felt relief because we didn't need to prove to the school anymore that she was struggling and that she needed help. I was told when I got to the 504 meeting that they could help with the anxiety. She's also in the Team Talk class at Jefferson. She's never been in the Team Talk class before. This year was so much for her to endure. She could not learn. She was out in the hallways. I asked for her to be out in the hallways because she could not learn. She could not write. She could not read. It's hard for any kid, but for a kid that's dyslexic, it's almost impossible. I don't want her to hate school. She's so positive and she's made so much progress. And I don't subscribe to the wait to fail model that we're using here. And RTI does not work for dyslexic kids. They are always going to need support, always going to need support. I'm tutoring her at my house with Orton Gillingham. It's costing me close to $800 a month to tutor her. And when I go to the 504 meeting with a neurologist diagnosing her with dyslexia, I'm told there is no services for a child like Abby at our district. I find it hard to believe that 20% of kids are dyslexic and that you have no resources, no reading program for a kid that works so hard to just be able to read. We need to do better. She had a miserable year. She was also somebody who was used as a positive role model. She was threatened with a pair of scissors in her class. She was struck in the back. And this wasn't what she told me. She told me many other things. This is the only things that administration told me. This cannot happen. She does not feel safe in class, and she can't learn there. I do not want her in the team class like next year. I think you need to have 2 team classes so you can spread out the children who have high needs and that there could be more adults. I really do think there needs to be 3 classes. I'm not sure why we have an elementary school that has half of the class numbers or 10 less than ours do. I don't know why parents are driving past Wilson School to get their kids to overcrowded Jefferson. But I'm telling them, I'm very, very exhausted and frustrated as a parent. Please consider our requests.
Anyone else want to come up and speak? No? Anybody else want to come up and speak at all this evening? Okay, before we move to re-enter executive session, I want to thank all of you for coming. Laura, I know it's very hard for you, and I thank you, and it was hard for all of you. We're obviously going to go back and discuss this. It's part of what executive session is about, and we have another meeting next week as well. So we're going to stay tonight and discuss, and we will continue discussions with administration. But it's important that you all came here tonight. I actually applaud each and every one of you, because to come and then have the guts to speak and advocate for your children, it's so important. You know, we don't know these things are happening. You know, it's not our job, but it's important that we hear it, because then it is our job to take action on it, right? And make sure that things get done and that conversations happen. And I will tell you, like, sitting at this table, we have children who have special needs. And I can honestly say I empathize with you, Laura, because I understand what it's like to have a child that hated school. And so I do get that. So no child in this district should be left behind, and no child in 2nd grade should hate school. So that makes us all up here, I can speak on behalf of the board, that makes us all, that breaks our hearts. So as mothers and, you know, and just as people, because that's not the district we want to lead, right? So we're going to discuss this with administration, and again, it's very, very important that you take these opportunities. That's what board meetings are about. You know, for anyone tuning in and listening, you know, this is business, right? This is the stuff no one cares about. It's this stuff that we care about, right? Like, we have to hear these things, and you elect us to sit up here and listen, right? And try to make a change and make a difference. So it's important that you come here and you voice these things to us so we can listen and try to make a difference, right? So that's important. So if nobody else, everybody else is okay, no one else wants to get up and speak, please. Yeah, come on up.
Hi, I have literally nothing prepared at all.
That's okay.
Carrie Reinhardt, I'm on Klimback Court, and I mean, these ladies have really said everything, but the one thing that I want to say, and I'm particularly in tune to, is we're on Klimback, and we are just down from all the construction that's going on Lane. I just want to put out there, and for us all to remember, I mean, we fought that construction for 6 years in a much different venue, but one of the things that we fought almost at every board meeting was all of those kids right there are zoned for Jefferson.
Yeah.
So we have 112 units, half of them at least are multi-bedroom, and then that is maybe 50% occupied, and we've already seen, I believe at least, we've had 5 new students, and again, I absolutely do not want to villainize any of those families. They're moving to a good district. But we've had 5 new students this year, okay? That's 50, and at least 2 of them came from that construction, and we have that about 50% occupied. That's 112 units. 44 units are still going up. This is going to get worse, and it's going to get much worse, I think. Again, there are multi-bedroom units. That's going to be families, not professionals. So I think we really want to keep in mind that we can kick the can down the road maybe now. Hope you don't do that, but this problem's going to get worse. I have a son that's in the 2nd grade classroom. He is holding his own, very smart kid, but I loved his teacher, but I do thank God he was not in that other class. Because of the behavior issues in that other class would have killed him. He was on the receiving end of several HIB complaints. He was called a racist. If anyone knows my son, he comes from a 2-mom household. I can assure you that's not the case. But he had anxiety for several days from having to go through the HIB process for something that he didn't do. And we were told outright he was not at fault, but he still had to go through the process, which is something else I would like to see if we can revisit, giving elementary principals the ability to override and not opt out. I have another son that's coming into the kindergarten, and there's 30 total kids registered. So we really need to be able to fluctuate each year and not take, we're allowed to do 25, so we're under the guidelines. 25 can be very different year to year. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Carrie. Anybody else? Before we close, I just want to make sure anyone who wants to speak has an ability to do so. Okay, everyone's good? Okay. All right, so thank you again, everyone. Like I said, the board meeting will be here again on Monday evening, okay? And that will be a voting meeting. And that being said, I'd like to ask for a motion to enter executive session at 8:10 p.m. I'll make a motion. Okay, and do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Brian, can you take the roll?
You're all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
All against, nay? Any abstentions?
No.
Motion carried.
Okay, so the meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you.